Kidnapped by Colombian rebels in 2002 and held against her will for 6 years, Ingrid Betancourt emerged from the South American jungle, a changed woman.
Now the former Colombian presidential candidate has chronicled her story in the book Even Silence Has an End. Ingrid Betancourt joins us now from New York City, and many thanks for your time this morning. Could I ask you, in writing this book, how many memories were evoked? How difficult was it for you to do?
Hello, Australia, and hello, Beverly. Writing the book was very difficult. At the beginning, I didn't know it was going to be so difficult, but really it demanded me to just immerse myself back in the jungle again. And after every day of writing, I was exhausted, emotionally exhausted.
You chronicle during your capture, which was for 6 years you were held captive, 5 attempts at escape. After the last one, you were brutally beaten, treated incredibly badly, yet so critical for you was staying tough, not letting your captors ever having the mental edge. How important was it for you to get through that experience?
I think very early in my captivity, I discovered that was probably the biggest risk I was facing, because of course it came to a point where living was, the animal instinct would provide for keeping me alive, but it wasn't sufficient, because then living like an animal was the choice I had, and I didn't want to become an animal. I didn't want to become what my captors wanted me to become. So protecting what I thought was my dignity, having respect to myself, and fighting for preserving that soul that I thought was being attacked was for me something that became very important. I remember, for example, once the guards arrived at 4 in the morning, very early, and they wanted us to do a roll call and number ourselves. I didn't at the beginning understand what it was, but then I saw my fellow companions, hostage, respond. 1, the first, then the second said 2, the third said 3. And when it came to my turn, I didn't want to answer with a number, and I said Ingrid Betancourt. And there was this kind of very tense moment. So I explained, I said, look, if you want to know if I'm here, you just call me by my name and I will answer. And that was something that was badly perceived by some of my companions. They thought that it was nonsense, that I wanted to be smart or because I was arrogant, and it was not. The really reason why I reacted like this, it's because I thought I couldn't accept to be treated like an object, because I knew they had the order to kill us if there was a military rescue. And in a way, I didn't want to just make the things easier for them.
So did you, in a sense, feel that if death was inevitable, that far more important was being able to look back at it and know that you never gave up your dignity? Because I think you've spoken in interviews about seeing this like my past and never wanting to be ashamed of anything I did.
Yes, that was the truth. In a way, I discovered that once in captivity, I wasn't the hero I would have wanted to be. None of us were heroes. We were just common people in confronted to extreme situation. But even though we were not what we wanted to be, I really think all of us, we were the best we could be in very horrible circumstances. And that was important, because one of the things I didn't want to face is, once in freedom, look back and being ashamed of what I had done or the behaviors I have had. Even though it wasn't always perfect, and it never was, I think because I intended to be the best I could, that gave me a certain serenity today.
Let's talk about today, because so critically what you learn from that experience is how you live today. And you talk about never wanting to go through a day without putting perfume on, making sure that you eat cake more often, eating ice cream. Has that really changed your perspective on life forever?
Yes, yes. I think you cannot go through an experience like the experience we had without, changing. I remember once, it was a very gloomy day. I was under punishment for escaping. I was chained to a tree by the neck. There was a pouring rain, and the commander didn't want me to just shelter under a tent, so I was there, soaked. I couldn't go pee. I wasn't allowed to do it. I felt like an animal chained to that tree, and I remember thinking I wouldn't treat a dog like they're treating me. And it was a very damaging thought until I realized that even they had taken all the freedom from me, there was one thing they couldn't take from me, the most important of all freedom, which was choosing what kind of person I wanted to be. And today that I'm back to freedom, this is something like a compass. Every time I am confronted to a difficult situation, I just think, what is the kind of person I want to be? How do I react to a difficult situation? Not like excusing myself and having all good reasons to just be a little myself, but just, trying to be the best. And I think that in our world today, we have so many reasons to behave, excuse me my expression, but sometimes like jerks, in the sense that we say, I didn't eat today, I didn't have lunch, I'm tired, had a problem with my husband or my wife, my parents were divorced, I hadn't money when I was a child, and we go back and back and back to justify how we are, our wrongdoings, when we're cruel or humiliating, or when we can be harsh to somebody that we love. Even sometimes it happens to the closest people that live with us. I think it's a time just to understand and just think that perhaps we have the possibility, the choice to be better.
Food for thought for so many of us. Ingrid Betancourt, thank you so much for your time, and all the best in the future.